Good afternoon, board and audience. I'd like to share with you our information regarding the impact that the COVID-19 pandemic crisis has had on our school district. So if we take a look at the timeline, it's important to note that the district was in conversation and receiving guidance through Los Angeles County Office of Education clear back in February. So I've been extremely impressed and thankful to the county office for their support and guidance throughout this particular crisis. They have gone from weekly phone calls to bi-weekly phone calls to everyday phone calls, depending on what the current situation is and what of the various guidance documents and directives from whether it be the governor or the state superintendent or public health have been. So I really commend Dr. Deborah Eduardo and her staff for their guidance that they have provided all 80 school districts throughout the county. Initially, our communications to families were precautionary in nature, just letting them know guidance from CDC as well as public health. We had initially been scheduled to host a League of Innovative Schools visit, and that was canceled early in March when it became very clear that we had a very uncertain situation occurring, and for the wellness of all involved, that it would not be good to introduce a host of visitors to our school district. We appreciate all the league's guidance in that. On March 12th, we actually, I hosted a meeting of the Beach City superintendents here in my office, and we also participated in a conference call with Torrance Memorial to get better understandings regarding COVID-19 and some collaboration with that institution. As we went into further into March, we really started with using our staff day to let them know that we needed plans in place in the event our schools closed. And our teachers really came together and did some remote learning plans. However, it's hard to believe that any of us would have thought at that moment in time that we are now, looking at closure through the remainder of this school year. So this is truly an unprecedented situation in public education in general. That first week we were closed, we did provide meals to our families, which were picked up at the high school, but we were only receiving about 15 families that came to participate in those meals. So we have a very small child nutrition staff who are mighty but small. And so we collaborated with other districts in the South Bay and have made arrangements for families to pick up at regional centers in neighboring districts. And they have grab and go meals for all children ages 1 through 18. And information about that service is on the website. And Kim Lins will speak about that later on in this presentation. On our next slide, when we initially got started with distance learning, we really went with not worrying about let's get out of the gate with academics. It was really about the wellness and checking in with the kids and really looking at trying to introduce this concept with compassion, with empathy, and with understanding. So that first week was really about connecting. And I'm really pleased to say we've been very successful district-wide in our ability to connect. So one of our board members prior to the presentation asked, what has our percentage been as it relates to connecting with our families? And at our elementary schools, we are at a 99 to 100% connection with families. It is important to note that I can't say that all kids are completing every piece of work, and that's okay because we don't need them to do that right now. What we want them to do is make those connections and we have been able to do that at our elementary school. Principal Adam Wright at El Segundo Middle School says they are about a 95% rate at the middle school, and they do have some students at the school that are struggling with anxiety and other issues that are causing them to have distraction from their work, but that they have too been able to connect with every family. And then at El Segundo High School, they have been able to connect with all but 10 families. And so they have attempted to email and contact and phone, and they have gone ahead and are now sending out letters to 10 of the families. So that also is a 99 percentile success rate of making connections with our kids. So I really applaud our teachers for being the first one to reach out and make those contacts. And then if they have not been successful, we've had clerical staff, we've had counselors, we've had our intervention specialist and our administration all making the outreach efforts to connect with every family. In addition, as you know, we did receive word that we will not be participating in state testing this year. So that has been waived, which is highly unusual. And then we've been trying to get information out to our families regarding the ruler program and the services that we have there. Our next slide. So it brings us to April. Really, this situation has been really interesting in the fact that I think sometimes maybe the public or our community might think, oh, the state superintendent must let the superintendents know in advance when he's going to make some special announcement. And that doesn't happen all the time. And so it's important to note that State Superintendent Thurman's remarks regarding school closure were a surprise to all of us as it related to just coming out ahead of letting any of us know or even letting our county office know. So we certainly all saw that additional restrictions or modifications to the closures would be perhaps forthcoming, but the remarks from the state superintendent, although well-intended, were caught us all by surprise as it related to that. So a reassurance was sent to our families, and then the following date, certainly we did receive further guidance from the county office, our governor, and then certainly public health as well. So it really is with a heavy heart that I had to send the notice to our families that we would remain closed for the remainder of the 1920 school year, and letting them know that we are going to maintain a let's find a way philosophy as it relates to promotion and certainly graduation ceremonies. And so we're going to continue to have outreach from our families, and we've already had a lot of people here in El Segundo reaching out and letting me know how can I help, and being able to connect them to Dr. Gooden. So we look forward to celebrating our promotions and graduations at a date to be determined later when it is safe. And Tracy Miller-Zarnicki and I had an opportunity to report to our PTA leaders last Monday, and they were very pleased with the rollout of distance learning. So as we look to the next slide, I really put this together to kind of serve as a framework to help people understand the various agencies on where we're getting guidance. So certainly our president and our federal agencies have a tremendous task ahead of them in regards to COVID-19 and the nationwide impact. So they make directives or take various actions that eventually may affect the school district. In addition, you have our governor, as well as our state superintendent, who is at the California Department of Education, who gives us guidance and a discussion. And then you also get Los Angeles County Office of Education and certainly the County of Los Angeles Public Health. And really it will be the county and any city action that would directly affect us at the greatest level. So let me just give an example. There are talks right now on a current event level regarding reopening the economy. And so you have the president putting together a task force on reopening the economy. You have the governor coming out with statements about reopening the economy. In the end, it will be Los Angeles County Public Health who will determine what the social distancing guidelines are for Los Angeles County. So even if the president or the governor makes an order, we have to always keep it framed with what is our particular situation here in Los Angeles County in regards to COVID-19. The city of El Segundo has done an outstanding job continuing to provide daily updates to our entire community. And then all of that information assists the school district in making decisions during this emergency situation, which in turn then impacts our students, families, and employees. So this was just to show that we all are interconnected, but in the end, the County of Los Angeles is really the one who is directly affecting us at the greater degree. Next slide. So I don't need to spend a lot of time on this. This particular slide, because I really believe this outlines the challenges and is very straightforward. We really applaud our parents who have literally gone from one day of having a certain lifestyle to the next day of being tasked with additional childcare responsibilities, as well as schooling responsibilities in many effects. So we really thank our parents and certainly our teachers for stepping up during this very difficult time. In addition, I know families are really struggling economically, perhaps, and I just would like to once again go back to the grab-and-go meals that should a family who might not have had financial challenges now have lost a job, you do not need to fill out additional paperwork. You can go and participate in the grab-and-go meals, and that information is on our website. So once again, we understand and the community is here to support you. Next slide. Well, this is a glimpse of our temporary new normal, and the key word here is temporary. We will persevere, we will get through this, and we have a tremendous team in place who are all here to support one another and to support all of our students, employees, and families. So please know you're in good hands. Distance learning in El Segundo, I'm just going to briefly say that I'm extremely proud of our educators and administrative team that started from day one. As I've networked with school districts across the nation, as well as other school districts here, whether it's in the South Bay or in other counties in Southern California, we started from day one. And we were really working to meet the individual students' needs. There was just a great degree of collaboration. And now that we're shifting to through the end of the year, we're really looking to increase our students' levels of engagement with their teacher. Our students love their teachers, and anything we can do to make and increase connections is what we really want to do. So we want distance learning to be something that is additive and not something that is a burden. So we'll continue to strive to do that. And Marisa Janicek will be speaking about that at a later time. What we've also seen is an increase in our families that are taking advantage of our mental health services. So we have our South Bay Families Connected. We also have our Care Solace. The last report that we received from Care Solace showed an increase of almost 10% on adolescents reaching out to inquire and look into the services that they could receive through Care Solace. So this is all tracked and we get reports on. So we really encourage parents and that are having struggles with their child regarding anxiety, stress at this very uncertain time, that these services are there for you. And this particular service will get you to a vetted resource that you can receive more support for your student there. Overall, the parent feedback has been outstanding. And then we are getting feedback now about next best steps. Our commitment is definitely to increase engagement with our students, and that each teacher is on a different place in that journey, and we're working to support them. Next slide. And so at this time, I'd like to shift gears and turn the report over to the various department heads, starting with Marisa Janicek in Educational Services, to share an update about where we are now and next steps regarding distance learning.